What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Double AF here with another dose of the Truth Scope. This is part 3. Let's get into this.
We're seeing black men publicly proclaim the idea of loving on everything but a black woman, wanting to have children because their eyes and their hair are going to be looser and more exotic looking. You do not see that as much in the influx of black women as you do in black men. So when y'all do get on, then it should be the responsibility of y'all, if y'all really care about this upholding of the black family, to then come back to the black communities that you come from and create those black families.
Hold on. Okay. So with that, I'll say this. Because in that line of thinking, that does kind of make sense. You know, she's basically saying, oh, if the black man really cares about the black community or something, you would think that he would come back and, do what it is that he's saying that he wants. And I'll use myself as an example for this one because I'm married to a quote-unquote Caucasian woman. And I have a 1-year-old, 14-month-old boy. And I have a daughter on the way. So I am like prime candidate of who she's talking about and talking to. So allow me to address what you're saying, Hope. Could I have had a baby or babies? Like I have a brother who has 6 kids? Well, like 3, I think maybe 4 different baby mamas. Is that what you want? And they all black. They all black. They all black. Okay, I have a brother. I'm pretty sure he got anywhere between 5 and 7 kids. No cap. That's fact. And at least 3 baby mamas. And they all black. So is that what you're talking about? Because that's a recipe for disaster. And basically, since that's my brother, those kids are my nieces and nephews. Now, I don't know them. They don't know me. He lives relatively far from where I live. And my brother's been in and out of the prison system. Living that quote-unquote storytell black existence, right? Living the ones that these liberal quote-unquote black women are always talking about, right? So look, he got all these kids. He went back to the community and did all that. And what good has it served him? So I know the last time he actually got locked up was because of one of his baby mamas. Like she called the cops on him or something like that. Y'all know how that ish be going. Okay. So anyway, it came down to this for me. Could I have had a baby by a quote unquote black chick? Or chicks? Yeah, of course. Of course. But I wasn't out there just running around shooting up the club. I grew up without my father. I always knew I was never going to be like that. I had great aspirations to be a father, to be the beacon, to be the leader. And fortunately for me, the Most High has blessed me with qualities that I need to accomplish that. So, when you're a leader and you can see the forest between the trees, and you're growing up the way I grew up, where I grew up, and where I later lived, you look and you say, hey, I need a woman that's going to be on board with X, Y, and Z. And at the end of the day, I don't care what color she is. None of that. Because the child is my seed. So the child is going to be me. Period. I'm a man. The child's going to be me. I carry the seed. So, do I get with a quote unquote liberal black woman who's gonna fight me on everything? Oh, I'm not gonna listen to you. I'm not gonna. No, it's not even about just listening to me. It's not like I'm over here like making these commands and demands and all that stuff. It's not even like that. But when you try to have this conversation with quote unquote liberal, quote unquote black women, the way they frame it, You would think that that's how it's going down. Like niggas out here just like, bitch, if you don't, you know what I'm saying, get down and give me 20. Like what? No, it ain't even like that. It ain't even like that. But the thing is, they're just way too combative. You know, so no. And I want brothers to do what they believe is best for them and their peace of mind. There's no reason to go through this life and be so damn stressed out, especially at home. Your woman, your wife is supposed to create and uphold, maintain a peaceful home for you. That's her that's one of her vocations. So if you have a woman, no matter the color, no matter what, no matter the race, whatever you want to call it, no matter none of that, and she can't do that, or she's not doing that, then brother, look, I urge you to reconsider. No, you're gonna do what the hell you want to do anyway, right? And that's fine. But I'm trying to just let y'all know you can save yourself a whole lot of heartache and a whole lot of bullshit and domestic violence cases if you just, get with the chick that closely or closest aligns to your morals and your principles. All right? That's what I highly recommend. Period.
Dr. Umar, you welcomed us to the show by saying Black Power. Black Power, okay. Is there some truth to the assimilation that Black men want or perceive to want when it comes to this war being waged against you?
Well, there's definitely some truth to it, but I think that truth is also evident in Black women. Black men, many of them may choose to want a white woman, but many Black women choose to look like white women. So we have to look at ourselves, and we have to...
Shots fired. Next time they show the whole panel, look at the top right, look at Cynthia G, look at her hairstyle, and et cetera, et cetera. And also just like, look next time you walk out the house. Quote unquote Black women be wearing blonde weaves, blonde wigs, blonde all this other shit. Like, first, that ain't your hair color. That's not your hair. That's not your hair. That's a horse's hair that resembles a quote unquote white woman's hair. And that should tell you something already, but I digress. Back to the video.
Recognize that the pathology is not more of one gender than the other. That's the issue I have with conversations that seek to see who is more at fault, the Black man or the Black woman. It's not about who's more at fault. We rise together, or we will perish together. The Black man cannot survive without his woman, and the Black woman cannot survive without her man. And the issue that I take with my two sisters' narrative is I hear a lot of criticism, I hear a lot of condemnation, but I don't hear any empowerment. I don't hear any solutions coming from either one of them. It appears as if that there is a hatred towards Black men by those sisters. Even when they said, why are we going back to 1960? Let's stay in 2022.
Okay, so I have to stop you there, Umar, because, and again, you're on a tear, and I respect, brother, but when you say, oh, these women aren't offering any solutions, yada, yada, they never will, because that's not how their brain works. That's why I do not waste time on basically the thoughts of women. Because they're not solution-oriented thinkers. They don't care about the solution. They like chaos and drama. That's what they like. Which is far from the solution. All right? What they want is never going to lead you to the solution. So, again, brothers, if you find yourself in a situation where, you're going back and forth for the woman, and you gotta, like, first of all, don't go back and forth for the woman. All right? Don't. They're literally just there to stir up some nonsense. That's it. And I'm actually about to do another series on what movie was that? Oh, on Scarface. I'm gonna use the movie Scarface. Well, I'm gonna try to without getting the damn video banned. But I'm gonna use the movie Scarface to basically break down how women are, agents of chaos and how they lead men to their demise. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I'm gonna probably start that in about a week or two.
is so immature and irresponsible of a statement. As a psychologist, when a client comes into my office, the first thing I perform is a history on their depression, a history on their suicide, a history on their anxiety. When you go see the medical doctor, he performs a history. When you go buy a home, they perform a history. When you go purchase an automobile, they perform a history on that automobile. But when we talk about the problems that affect Black males, we're supposed to look at it in a vacuum. We're not supposed to put it in a historical context. And with that being said,
So, Umar, to that I say this: the history is very important. I believe that the quote unquote Black community is in the state that it's in right now because we don't know, as a whole, we don't know true history. All right, quote unquote Black people out here, they don't know shit about history. What they think is history is all lies and fabrication. That's it. So from that standpoint, yes, I agree with you. But overall, what you're saying is, oh, well, the past still impacts the present. It still impacts the present. So my question to you would be, well, when will it not? And how do we get there? Because if you don't have an answer to that, then basically you don't have a solution either. So I'd much rather preach, hey, this is the history, but you ultimately get to shape your future. Because I don't accept the excuses. I have an employee. I was speaking to her today for probably about like 2 hours. And she was telling me about her life story. She's new. She's a new employee. Telling me about her life story and all that other stuff. And I was asking her, like, what do you want to do with your life? You know, what are your goals? Where do you see yourself? You know, what are you trying to accomplish? And, you know, she quote unquote had goals, and I put that very loosely. But when I would say, so what's the plan? Like, she has no plan. Listen, when you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Period. Full stop. That's it. And I told her that today. And as it pertains to what Umar's saying is, if you don't have a plan for the future, the past is great. The past is great because as quote unquote Black people, and Umar should be able to attest to this, because he always talking about, oh, I'm a Pan-Africanist, I'm a this and that and all this stuff, and historian, then you should know that the whole slavery thing is just a blip on the radar in terms of the greater quote unquote history of our people. That's just a blip on the radar. And not even just our people. If you want to talk about different like groups of people, like the other, as what's referred to as the African empires and all this stuff, then you know that should outweigh 200 years of slavery, right? So no, Umar. I think when you say that, well, it doesn't help you in a conversation such as this because, you know, these liberal Black women, first of all, no matter what you say, they're just going to find a way to try to poke holes in it. But two, you're laying the foundation for excuses. And I get that. Look, you do it all the time with your school. You know, all these excuses. Like I saw a video that Umar did the other maybe a couple weeks ago. And he was saying, "Oh, we just now was able to find a reliable quote unquote Black." Well, he didn't say quote unquote, but you know, a reliable Black HVAC technician. After 2 years, we finally were able to find a reliable. And so basically, what you're doing, Umar, is one, I don't believe that. That's number one. Number two, you're actually shitting on quote unquote Black men. And because I don't believe that you've been having like this many quote unquote issues with Black men in HVAC jobs, because if I'm an HVAC guy, right, and I get a contract for the school, and I have my own business, I'm gonna do that. I'm going to do that, and I'm gonna do it well, because that's money. So unless you're messing up with the money, or they need more to be done before they can do what they need to do. But obviously, Umar's not going to disclose that. And again, this video is not about talking about Umar in the school. But I'm just saying. I digress. Let's just get back to the video, because
the language and the narrative that's coming out of the mouth of these two beautiful black women is one that I think the white power structure would endorse, because it totally absolves them of any responsibility for the hell black men catch in this country.
Cynthia G, you did say, why are we going all the way back to 1960? There is some truth to history when it comes to evaluating anything or anyone. So what do you say to that? I hold that thought, because I only got about 30 seconds here, so I don't want you to get into it, because I know you're going to get into it good, sis, and then have to come right back out of it. You understand? So just make sure you understand the question at hand, which is about a person's history, in this particular case, black men's history in America, and why it doesn't matter when it comes to the war being waged against them. We'll talk about that and more when we return on The Business of Being Black with Tammy Mack on Fox.
what is the business of being black, Miss Tammy Mack? What is black? Who defines black?
So, we'll be back. Woo.
Do it. So I would like to know, what did you do in response in history, other than go to the Supreme Court and petition to have access to the men's women that you're complaining and accusing of disenfranchising you? See, because in the 1960s, what black men were really doing, and it's been documented, many civil rights leaders have admitted to it, what black men were doing is chasing the white man's woman, trying to so-called stick it to him by way of going to their women. What you should have been doing is trying to get liberation for yourself. What you should have been trying to do is get that foot off your neck. But see, the foot is not.
Well, it's very interesting how you're looking back at the civil rights movement through today's lens, but not taking into account that you're looking back 60 years. All right, you can't just look at it through today's lens and say, okay, well, this, that, and that. No, you got to take into account that was 60 years ago, number one. So number two, 60 years ago, back in the 60s, quote unquote, black men were fighting for liberation. Now, were they doing it in ways that I would totally agree with? No, not all of them, but there were different like factions or sects or whatever you want to call it. Like on one hand, you have the Nation of Islam. On the other hand, you have the Martin Luther King, like the whole Southern Baptist, quote unquote, blacks. And then you have, on the other hand, Malcolm X has split off in the 60s. And so he wasn't really rocking with the Nation of Islam, but he was rocking with Islam and rocking for like a greater, on a more global standpoint. And then also back then, you had the quote unquote Black Panthers who were fighting for liberation as well. Again, do I agree with their methods? No, but I can also look back and say, hey, that was 60 years ago. For them, especially like the whole Black Panther thing, that revolutionary, giving black men power, giving them guns and all sorts of stuff. I can see how that can sweep some brothers off their feet and be like, yeah, I'm rocking with that. Or I can see how the Southern Black Baptist Christians could, listen to this great orator, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I can see how these things could happen. So, but to sit there and try to act as if quote unquote, black men have never tried to do anything to liberate themselves, let alone their women and their children, that just tells me, and I already know. So this is why I stopped making videos using Cynthia G. She's been hurt. I don't know who the hell hurt her or how she got hurt, but she is hurt. She is damaged. Girl is damaged. I thought that I should let you know. You know what I'm saying? She is definitely damaged. She is damaged. Damaged goods. You know what I'm saying? It's you can't even refurbish that shit. It's one of those you just write it off. But I said like, for her to say what she's saying, it's like, come on, man. Like, you you look pathetic. And unfortunately, a lot of quote unquote black women, liberals, echo the same sentiment and thoughts that Cynthia is saying. And that's the sad part. When you have people saying things like that, trying to act as though they know history and they know what's good and stuff like that, knowing that they have no fucking solution. Excuse my language, but they have no solutions, none whatsoever. But yet they're gonna, get up on YouTube and talk bad about the black man. Like, if you care so much about the quote unquote black man, how about, I don't want to say help the black man, but how about you say, like, how they say in like hip hop, hold him down, re-encourage him. And that obviously the quote unquote black man doesn't need re-encouragement from the woman, but the simps out here, they could probably benefit from that. But then again, if a quote unquote black woman were to do that, she'd probably do it like this, like, oh, I let him think that he leading because I let him think that I'm really leading, but I just let him like. And then where does it end? And it was crazy. I'm not even a third of the way through this video, and I'm about to stop it again. So I'll see y'all on the next one.